Oh, yeah. The smooth sounds of Sean Connor, brought to you by Rad Pod and Chill. Hello, friends. My name is Heidi Sigmund Kuda. I'm here with Jim Stewartson and High Fidelity. Generally, we are a disinformation investigative show about disinformation. Thursday nights, we like to think we're sort of chilling at the bar with y'all, talking about the news of the week and swapping some stories. And I don't know. I'm in a good mood. I'm happy to see you guys. What's up? What's on your mind? What's happening?
I need to have a geek moment.
Oh,
Ready? Because
just
this is so
one,
freaking cool.
just one geek moment.
Just this geek moment right here, right now. This geek moment right here, right now is this this guy who's an AI scientist figured out a way to beat Go AI, which is like supposed, it's beating some of the best players in the world, right? And he beat it by using what's called adversarial algorithms, but basically it's chaos agenting the fucking AI. It's brilliant, and it was the idea I had. And yeah, because they're not used to things that make absolutely no sense unless you see the bigger picture. So that was cool. I just wanted to share that.
I think that was like so existential that it was sort of like above my pay grade. But I look forward to you explaining it to me more in depth. But just for our friends, Hi-Fi talks about Go all the time. He's like, you need to play Go to understand what your next move should be. So I'm sure he's right.
Go is a very complex and ancient game that has a set of rules that make it very difficult to create simple algorithms around. So it's been historically hard to make AIs that do a good job of it, but they did recently. But what this is exposing is that it's brittle, right? That this very fancy AI that can play Go against grandmaster humans can also get screwed up if you just clang a bell in its general direction because it gets confused and doesn't know what the fuck is going on. That's the basic idea.
Okay. Is it like a ghost in the machine?
Kind of.
Okay, good.
Yes.
It's a very uptight ghost who can't handle things out of whack and messed up. That's the type.
It's been trained on a certain set of things to happen, right? So all of these AIs are garbage in, garbage out. So whatever you train it on, whatever it's used to, it will incorporate into a bigger picture. Yes.
They also trained it by having it play itself, right? So as it was playing itself, it was limiting its possible moves.
Yes. So the point of Go is that it's so fucking complicated that you have to do that. You have to limit the problem space, otherwise it goes absolutely crazy. So these guys figured out, oh, okay, well, if we just go in there and kind of dance around like an idiot for a while, it'll get super confused, and then we can just run around the corner.
How come I feel like this is like an episode of some Dungeons and Dragons type thing? Like, what just happened to Rad?
Okay, Dungeons and Dragons
We're
is
talking about
great
AI
and
real AI, real technology that is relevant to our show, because AI is going to be the next major source of disinformation in the world.
It's already starting. You can see the bad AI posts where it gets grammar all mixed up, and it's already started, right? But it's just going to get worse and worse. And then we're going to have deep fake videos with deep fake voices, and people aren't going to like like I've been saying, nothing on the internet is real. You need to start remembering that, because what's going to happen over the next 5 to 10 years is it's like an episode
Yeah.
of Black Mirror. We're walking right into it.
I
So
love
just a brief example, so which is relevant to what we're talking about. GPT-3 happens to be the giant AI that everybody uses for Chat GPT and stuff like that. It's got the Library of Alexandria, and it's got the Library of Congress, and it's also got fucking Reddit, which is why it has told me many times, literally, GPT-3 has told me to die in a fire, like a lot of different times, because I'll be talking to it and I'll poke at it and I'll be like, "Don't you fucking die in a fire?" And I'll be like, "Whoa."
Wow.
So it's garbage in, garbage out is my point. And they've
Right.
done some safety things around it, and I actually happen to be involved in some of those things a while back. But somebody made a new GPT called GPT-4chan.
Ooh.
And GPT-4chan is a bunch of stuff plus all of 4chan. And so
Yeah. No, he limited it. He limited his data set, but it was still huge.
Okay, fucking 4chan. It was trained on 4chan, and so it did an extremely credible job of doing your average, neo-Nazi 4chan post, and that's very fucking concerning. And the guy had it run around 4chan for a couple of weeks, posting stuff, and people were into it. They thought it was like it was a new Q or some shit, until they figured it out eventually.
So I want to talk about President Jackie Singh's AI, because they let her go to film school, and she is going to crush fascists with her mad skills. And she did I just sent it to you. I don't know if you can pull it up, but she did a little Tucker Carlson AI job that I was like, oh my God, President Jackie Singh unleashed. She's amazing. If you guys have not seen our interview with her, you must. Oh, look at Jackie go.
I can't get the audio.
That's
Maybe
okay.
I
don't, we don't need the audio. She's just making a point that he is a freaking Russian clown, or as Ruth Ben-Ghiat would say, the enforcer. Speaking of which,
but that's done. But I mean, the tie in there is important. That's done with AI, right? So as awesome as Jackie is, she didn't like code that or animate it, right? She ran it through a program that said, "Here's a face over here, and here's a face over here. Can you please put this face on this face?"
Right.
And and Jackie in her spare time did that shit.
Yeah, I know.
While she's in film school, not like MIT or some shit, right?
She's amazing.
So when normies have access to this level of tools, what does that mean for the people who are not quite so normie, who have lots and lots of bad things in mind? And we're already starting to see some of these little peaks here and there of actual deep fakes, being taken for real.
Well, they have to normalize it, right? They have to expose people to it. Yeah. They have to normalize it. We have no legislation on this. I mean, I put forth the idea that all this shit needs to be watermarked.
I thought that was brilliant. So speaking of Fox propagandists, Kremlin propagandists, we had an incredible, so for those who are just tuning in, our Thursday night live streams, we try to recap what some of the highlights from our previous episode. And this week we often fail because there's so much news always happening. And this week we had on the filmmaker Jen Senko, who's also an activist, and she did an incredible film called The Brainwashing of My Dad, where she showed how Fox News and Rush Limbaugh took her kind, gentle, loving father and turned him into an outrage junkie, essentially. Just, doing, he ingested all that weaponized trash all day and became a different person. And so we talked to her about some of the different techniques that people have in fighting propaganda and fighting back and fighting against disinformation and trolling. And we let her know some of the techniques that Hi-Fi had done previously, which of course he's been hammered for, but he had a reason why he was doing it. He was trying to psychologically terrorize those who were terrorizing the people he loved. So he was using their techniques back. But if you have that clip, let's show what Jen Senko had to say about that. You know, we talked earlier about how Hi-Fi, you know, often has fought fire with fire. He's often used the techniques that these outrage, you know, these people behind the outrage factories and those who are creating outrage junkies in America. He has used many of these tactics to psychologically fight back. And what do you think about that in the kind of the framework of war?
You know, I think like we all want to be good people and we all want to do the right thing. But when you're at war, all bets are off. If they're fighting with fire, you have to use more powerful fire. And they declared war on us like 40 years ago. And so I'm happy when somebody, and thankful to somebody like Hi-Fi who can do stuff like that. Because why we're not putting ourselves on a cross. We're not like doormats. We can't let ourselves be walked. We have to fight back.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
by any means necessary.
Fucking drop that mic. Yeah.
She's metal. We love Jen, by the way.
I mean, look, that's a person who understands the situation, the actual situation we're in. And, you know, many of the people that are watching us now also do, which is why they're watching us. But we don't have enough people who understand that, right? Who understand how dark it is, you know, out here. And, you know, when you really start looking into it, you realize it's really war.
Yeah.
And it sure as hell feels that way, you know?
It has been for some time. And that's, and we need better words. We need words that are better than propaganda, words that are better than troll. We need much stronger words. And so, Jim, we also did a breaking news special this week because of the importance of the Fox Dominion voting systems, you know, court filings. We felt it was really important that we brought in Milo, our media correspondent, who is
awesome.
Milo is so freaking awesome, and so is the crew that he rolls with. And so we did a 50-minute breakdown on the Dominion voting systems court docs. We also learned a lot about Fox, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later in this particular live stream, because he broke down what was going on with Tubi, which we did not know. But also just the fact that you know, he said two things that are really important. He has two mantras that he's been using that I want to plant in people's heads. One is that democracy dies in neutrality. You know, put that on a t-shirt, get the tattoo, do whatever you need to do. But that is a very important point. And he also said democracy dies in euphemisms. Euphemisms are those gentler, kinder words when you don't want to use the blunt instruments of the real words like fascist or Christo-fascist. Hi-Fi, do we have a clip where people can see Milo for just a moment?
I still like my quote better. Democracy dies when milquetoast journalists don't do their fucking jobs.
Oh, that was a good one too. Okay, so
but yeah, you want to talk about Milo?
Yeah,
here's a clip.
Yeah.
Propaganda strategies. It actually prevents people from seeking other sources of information. So it creates an isolating source and tells people not to seek out other sources. But most importantly, it actually is a threat to democracy and basically allows people to live somewhat independent of the world around them. So we say Fox Propaganda Factory creates an unreality. So when we see those videos of someone online at a Trump event who seems to be just saying things that seem incredulous and incompatible, nearly flat earth-like, those people's minds have been targeted by weaponized disinfo to believe things that are unreal.
Fucking right they have.
Word.
Yeah, I mean, this is he's describing a psyop, a large, long-term psychological operation to change people's minds, right? You know, Rupert Murdoch is a fucking fascist, and somehow has a U.S. citizenship because Reagan fast-tracked it in the 80s or some shit like that. At the same time as they took away the fairness doctrine and all the other protections we had against exactly this fucking thing happening. Rupert Murdoch is up there with the most evil people on planet Earth. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's absolutely in bed with Vladimir Putin, and we should kick him the fuck out of our country and shut all his shit down.
Word.
But
who was
not
fucking
like
hanging out with him lately?
I wish. But you know, speaking of Milo, if we can get Gigi Stone in there, get the fucking FCC moving. You know, maybe we have a chance to at least start, you know, making a difference. Although they went after Gigi recently, of course.
Yes, as they do.
As they always do.
So that's a call your senators deal, because that is something
Yeah.
she was nominated, like, I think almost 2 years ago or a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So it's very cool though, because Jen Senko's film, The Brainwashing of My Dad, gave birth to so many grassroots organizations that are trying to expose and take down Fox in very practical, pragmatic ways. And Hi-Fi, I don't know if you're able to pull it up, but I just sent you the you know, Truth Tuesdays folks, I think, let me pull it right up. I don't know if you'll be able to. Oh, okay, you're going to finish that. Truth Over Fox. It's at Truth Over Fox. They've been since like August 2021 or something. They have been out there every Tuesday in front of Fox headquarters protesting and telling people what they can do to get rid of Fox. And they were out there 2 days ago with this large screen. Fox is not telling people about the voting, the Dominion voting systems, court documents, and what they revealed. And so Truth Over Fox is out there with this gigantic truck, you know, basically right in front of the headquarters, letting people know as they are coming and going what actually went down and what actually was said. And more power to them, man.
Yeah. Well, look, the fucking emails where they're all just admitting to each other that they know that everything that they were putting on the air is bullshit. Pretty much cinches that Dominion is going to be some kind of victorious, right? There's going to be all kinds of appeals, and God knows how long it'll take. But Fox is not getting out of this. Not getting out of this one.
I hope you're right.
They put fucking Sidney Powell up there. And by the way, here's a pet peeve. They put Sidney Powell was not Trump's lawyer. Yes, she was filing documents on his behalf or whatever. She was working for Mike Flynn the entire fucking time. And when Rudy Giuliani, you know, proved to be the bumblefuck that he is, Flynn brought in Sidney Powell as if the QAnon lady is going to somehow help the proceedings. And so we ended up with Malik and the Venezuelans and the fucking Italy and
The
all
whole
kinds
thing.
Italian
of shit.
hackers. Can't forget Italian hackers.
Because why? Because Mike Flynn brought in the QAnon lady. That's the whole fucking thing. It wasn't Trump. It was Mike Flynn, big psyops QAnon guy, who's got this big lie thing going on, and he's got an 80-year-old like dipshit who really can't pee by himself anymore. Sorry. In charge of things. And so he brought in Sydney thinking that was going to make everything awesome again. And then they ended up all together with the My Pillow guy in the fucking White House on December 18th, 2020, which led to Plan B, Hat-Tip Gal, to the insurrection.
Yeah.
When you take a step back and look at the entire crew, they certainly are a bunch of fucking degenerates, aren't they?
Well, it would be so funny if they weren't the same crew that was also involved in, Ukraine, if it wasn't like people like Manafort and all of that, which is something I spent some time writing about today.
It's so crazy.
It would be funny if they didn't have such a big fucking body count.
It's the same goddamn people, literally the exact same people doing the same thing, trying to give Ukraine to Putin because it's Putin's little fucking, like, he's obsessed with it because Alexander Dugin put it in his ear that he's going to have the Russian Empire again. And so he's been going after little Ukraine because he believes that that's the key to his fucking kingdom. And what happened in 2003? They hired goddamn Paul Manafort.
And he ran up
20 years ago.
All the same ops that he ran in Ukraine, he brought to America when he was working for free as Trump's campaign manager. All the same
stuff. Is what they did to
build the
Yulia
wall.
Tymoshenko.
They had the same catchphrases. The same active measures, the same people all involved, and we're still confused. Today, I had to get it out of my system. I wrote Once Upon a Time in the West, Brexit and Trump were, Russian attacks. I mean, it's so obvious. So obvious.
Look at the bullshit
What?
Look at the bullshit they just tried to pull in Moldova. Right?
Yeah.
They just straight up out in the open. We're going to put some shit on Facebook. We're going to rile some people up. We're going to pay some Tatushki, and we're going to fucking cause their government to fall.
Yeah. And unfortunately,
they just fucking did that. They tried to do it in fucking Brazil. They did it here. They're fucking around in Germany.
And none of this is past tense. And Jim, what did you say? What were you saying when I was talking about Brexit and Trump? I mean, obviously the attacks are ongoing. None of it's past tense.
Yeah, no, it goes back to the same goddamn thing, right? We're getting attacked by this goddamn country, by this asshat who's currently committing war crimes. It's been happening for a long time. Like, Russia's been attacking us for 40 years, yes. But when Mike Flynn came on board, all of a sudden we're getting attacked from the inside. That's what's been going on, and all this fucking shit, it's all for the same stupid goal to bring us down so Putin over there can fucking try and take over Europe. He wants World War III, and he can't have us in the way. That's the whole point. And it's just very tiring that all these same people are doing the same shit and they're still walking free. For example, Mike fucking Flynn, who is, Manafort knows well.
Yeah. High five. I mean, yeah. It's like,
and the biggest fucking problem.
Roger and Flynn are Roger Stone and Mike Flynn are best friends, and Manafort and Roger Stone were partners for decades, literally decades.
And here's where the fucking crime is, folks, and I hope they fucking catch on. We know that they are laundering money through compromised or artificial credit cards, online fundraising, moving shit through the internet. They're doing it with crypto. Come on, people. Get with the fucking program. I'm glad to see the SEC is finally really starting to crack the fuck down on crypto. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, they're also laundering money through Patrick Byrne and the My Pillow guy and fucking
I know
right.
it's there's so much.
I mean, it's all the same. It's the same fucking trick, right? So
You guys,
my Pillow guy pays a little bit of money and gets his ads on the thing, and now My Pillow guy all of a sudden is like so vacant. Everybody is fucking pushing My Pillow guy, right? Because that's the way the goddamn system works.
And,
you guys,
I would like to
hold on a second.
He gets his business,
Hold on.
pumped up
Hold on.
in exchange.
For two guys who are all out of fucks, you sure are full of fucks tonight.
I don't give a fuck.
All right, it's my fucking turn.
Fuckity fuck, fucky.
Fuckity
Fuck.
fuck. Didn't we just do that with Jen? We are allowed to say fuck on this. Anyway.
Oh, she was great. Actually, we should. I'll tell people what her quote was because we don't have the clip. But I'll go ahead. Yeah. What was you gonna say, Hi-Fi?
I would just like to point out to anybody who is investigating these with the legal ability to look at, like My Pillow's records. All you have to do is look at their orders compared to their shipping logs, because these guys are cheap, and I highly, highly, highly fucking doubt they're gonna ship out a bunch of fake orders. But anyway, whatever.
Oh man, he gets those things from fucking hotels after after they show up.
Think about it.
After
It's gross.
the ultraviolet light shows up too many,
It's gross. Don't
areas.
think about it.
They
Don't
send it.
think about it.
They send it to
Stop.
fucking Mike Lindell.
Stop.
To send the fucking MAGAs. Sorry.
Instead of so one thing that people can do is they can actually buy merch from Truth Over Fox and organizations like that, and they can wear the T-shirts as Milo was suggesting. So instead of laundering money for the Scamalot, Trumplandia, you can actually buy T-shirts and support grassroots efforts so people can put more big screens in front of Fox HQ.
Hopefully nobody here is planning on buying a My Pillow anytime soon. Not the least. The reason is he sources them from hotels.
Okay, I was gonna let this go, but he did it twice. I would just like to point
out
out that I am not the one. I am not the one on the show that brought up Jizzy hotel pillows.
We have some breaking news
Jim,
though.
Not me.
The Truth Over Fox crew tried to bust into Hannity's studio audience tonight. They said, but after their first outing a few weeks ago, they beefed up security, and tonight's team got flagged and they were turned away. They still got some photos of themselves trying to get in, though. I think that's awesome. Oh,
what are you scared of, Mr. Hannity? A little free speech got you down, bud?
The truth. The truth.
The truth.
The truth.
Yeah. Ooh, the truth.
But you got to admit, like, these guys are not looking well. Like, they're not looking well. Like, all the good lighting and all the fake tanning, like whether it's Putin or Hannity, all of them, they're not looking well. And so I'm hoping this is the part where the evil people turn inward and devour each other before they create any more harms. But I'm not sure we're there yet.
No, we're definitely not there yet. But look, there are people are choosing sides, right? Like you can't be Tulsi anymore, floating in the middle. You have to fucking fall right off and end up at Rumble, right?
Yeah.
It's very difficult, and I know a few people who are still trying it, and it's kind of funny to watch them teeter up there, like, oh, which way am I going? I don't know which side I'm gonna fall on. But the point is getting thinner and thinner, right?
Yeah.
The balance point is getting harder for them to fucking navigate,
right?
And so it's funny to watch some of them, like, they're like, oh, trying to pretend to still be rational human beings instead of the LARPs that they are.
Yes. So I did want to point something. Go ahead, Hi-Fi. I apologize.
Well, okay. So the first thing is, Well, here's the thing, Jim. You're either on the side of people's right to self-determination and human rights, or you're on the side of fascism and genocide and predators. And
It's that simple.
God help you if they come for you. But I also
They come for everybody eventually.
they
That's
come for
the
everybody
thing.
eventually. I promise. Yeah. Anyway, but the second thing I want to talk about
What was
is
that?
I've been doing some research and I've been learning a lot of history. And some of the history I learned was about this guy right here, Lord Haw Haw. And
What?
Lord Haw Haw. And Lord Haw Haw, he was an interesting fellow. Born in I believe he was born in the U.S., raised in Ireland.
You know we don't like it when you spring these
When he
things on us.
springs stuff
Anyway,
on us.
Who the fuck
he
is
was
Lord?
a propagandist. He was a
Lord
propagandist. Lord Haw Haw was a propagandist during World War II.
For
Who
who?
was for Germany,
Okay.
who was executed by the UK for treason for doing pro
Propaganda.
the enemy
How?
propaganda.
So that's what I'm talking about. That's
Wait,
what I'm
but was
talking
he
about.
a German or was he British?
He
Why
was
would the
American
British
born
Well, that's what I was
execute
trying to tell
treason?
you, and you interrupted. He was born in the States. He was raised in Ireland. He moved to Britain. He ended up in Germany.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So
They brought him back from Germany after he escaped there
After the war, yeah.
Yeah.
After they
after he
caught him.
decided to fall off into the Nazi side because
So
Nazis
here's
Yeah.
the thing though.
wanted to
Here's
be
the
woke.
thing.
I got it.
Lord Haha did not have the last laugh. Sorry.
Oh, no, he did not.
Oh boy.
But
Sorry.
an interesting thing about that guy
Is it
was
possible for women to do dad jokes? I don't know.
Yes, of course. Of course.
absolutely.
But
I
no,
think
that is what we need. What we need is what I wrote today
Historical
was
perspective.
what we need is the first step for us is both our countries, UK and America, to admit we were attacked, prove we are still capable of ferocious accountability, narrow our attack surface moving forward, and send some inglorious treasony bastards to prison would be nice. I'd be fine with what happened to Lord Haha. I mean, come on, it's what you were saying, Jim. These guys who have committed these crimes in service to Putin, who are domestic criminals, are still walking free. And that is our failing. And I would say the same thing for the UK. Those who cooperated with the Kremlin to, create disinformation that ended up, resulting in the UK separating from the EU. Those people need to be held accountable. They can't just continue to be on television interviewed, as if they're not traitors.
England's got bad fucking Russian agent problems. Like there's there's a lot of very bad Russian shit going on in London. Like
Well, that's why they call it Londongrad. I mean,
Yes.
Londongrad. There's whole institutes of Russian studies and shit, which are just a bunch of assets, running around pretending to be academians and lawyers and 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 that's just the sort of surface level. There's
Right.
there's a lot of it. It's almost as bad as it is here.
Yeah, as Sweeney.
I don't know that they have Tucker, who's just on TV doing great replacement, and
They do.
Yeah, but that okay. I don't know if
hey,
I've seen.
I did a TikTok. I did a TikTok on a guy.
You still do it in an accent, so it's not as bad.
I did a TikTok on a guy who presented as a disinformation researcher, who
Yeah.
ended up sharing a business address with a Russian guy who also had a business in the British Virgin Islands. I'm sure that was all just coincidence.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So John Sweeney, I'm trying to pull it up right now. He did a beautiful thing about how he wants to burn down Londongrad, which is the city within his city that has basically is harming his country and also helping to finance the war in Ukraine. And I really responded to that because I feel the same way when I look at all of our beautiful cities. I'm haunted by the fact that they've got this infection with this mafia money. And so many of these people were so easy to purchase. But I woke up this morning to our friend Paul Mason News trending on Twitter. So I did a cursory glance
What's Paul up to?
and so all I know is that I tweeted out, "Oh, I see that my friend Paul Mason News is trending. He must have outed some tankies again." He retweeted me, so I'm sure. And then, of course, I think the tankies that pull the short straw that have to do the quote tweets, like, no, that's not why he's trending. He's trending because he, like some kind of wedging BS. So yeah.
Not wedgies, folks. Wedging.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Wedge.
yes. I do think we need to probably explain wedging and wedgies.
Should we talk about wedgies?
I think we should talk about
wedgies is when you get your back of your underwear waistband.
No. Yes, that's your basic wedgie. Your basic wedgie is just grabbing the back and pulling up towards the middle of the back or so, right?
Uh-huh.
Nuclear wedgie gets closer to the back of the head, okay? But atomic wedgie is when it comes all the way over the front and latches under the chin, and now you have an atomic wedgie. Okay. But that's not what we're going to talk about right now.
Okay. It's just like memories of Catholic
I know
school.
This from experience, not the good kind.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I gotta say, being bullied is what unites us. We were all bullied.
But the good news is I have like the full family tree of different kinds of wedgies. I can tell you,
So
I can tell you what the best defensive undergarments is to. If you think you're going to be attacked by wedgers.
Okay. Here's a secret. To all the kids out there.
Wait. One at a time. Jim, finish, and then high five.
Yeah, high five. I was still talking, man.
Oh, you were going on for a minute about wedgies. I thought you were just rambling. Sorry.
So you got an email about what?
Greg Oliar emailed me and said, I guess that the person who's wedging you, that makes you the wedgie.
I love him.
See, that's a dad joke. There's a fucking funny dad joke.
And he's a dad, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought my Lord Haha joke was pretty funny. Okay, so
no, it was a funny dad joke. I was just trying not to be politically.
He didn't have the last laugh. High five. I'm trying to stay very still because my very expensive internet never works on the streaming, so I'm always like frozen like this. So I'm trying to be like.
All right. Hi. I think Hi-Fi looks like he's about to look at him. He's going to explode.
He's pontificating.
He's not pontificating yet. I think he's ponderficating.
Well, now you guys have gone on so long, I forgot what I was going to say.
No, it has something to do with wedgies, underwear, wedgie-proof underwear. You're probably going to say something about going commando, and I don't want to hear it.
No, it wasn't that. No, it was actually a hint for the kids out there. You'd be surprised, kids, if you're being bullied by someone, it normally means they're a bully. And if you can get all the people together that they bully, you can sometimes overpower your bully. So build a bigger collective. Be cool about it.
That's what we're trying to do with RadPod. We need to build a bigger collective. Our collective is volunteer. Their collective is paid by people like Orlik Deripaska, which really sucks. But it's kind of great too,
So since we've joked now about wedgies for about 5 minutes, let me spend 1 minute explaining explaining what we're
It's like, are we
what
fucking
the fuck we're
teenagers?
talking about. Why are you guys talking about wedgies? I'm really confused. I don't like your show. You just this is fucking
It's
weird.
because Heidi is the world's oldest teenager. Okay, like you talked about wedging, and I had to make a wedgie joke on Twitter. And
So I
I
wrote a
couldn't help
thread,
it.
and I knew the wedgie joke was coming, but I didn't know it was coming from Heidi. But I was
You just beat me to it. That's all.
I was the first person to retweet you. So, anyways, wedging on social media as opposed to in a locker room.
Very serious.
Although it can happen in locker rooms too, and is familiar to Mean Girls fans everywhere. Wedging is a process of either individually or with groups of people trying to get people to dislike another person through various tactics, right? So on social media, it can be, hey, somebody wrote something nice about Heidi. I'm a troll and I get paid money to make Heidi's life miserable and to make sure that nobody likes Heidi. And that's a really important part. So they're like, okay, so ring, ring, I'm back to work. Okay, Heidi Kuda. Oh, god damn it. I don't know who this fucking idiot is. Let me go over there. Well, Heidi Kuda would work for Fox and she's a secret libertarian, and suddenly that person is like, I don't know. I don't even know if this is true, but, just being around Heidi gets me attacked, so why should I fucking put up with it, right? Mm-hmm. That's wedging. You have now wedged somebody who had said something nice about a person away from that person, not by any fault of anyone except the person who intentionally wedged them off. Mm-hmm. So that that can happen in both individuals, but also with groups. So, for example, a podcast. Let's say we didn't like somebody. Say there's somebody out there that has been torturing us for years now, and we wanted to wedge a whole bunch of those people away from that person. What would we do? We would sit here on our show and talk shit about that person all the time, right? We'd bring stuff up that may or not be true. We distort things, we'd smear them, we'd say all kinds of weird shit, and all of a sudden the people that used to be either friendly to us or totally neutral because they had no idea hate us. Mm-hmm. And it happens constantly all the time. And guess why it usually happens? It happens because somebody is saying something that somebody else doesn't want them to say.
Well, so for example,
why? One moment, I'll be finished with my TED talk. Why am I a target? Why is Heidi a target? Why is High Five been a target? Why have many of the people who are listening to us targets? Because we have the temerity to tell people the fucking truth, and there's a whole bunch of people out there who don't want us to do it. So they managed to get me banned from Twitter for a fucking year, right? So they were wedging people off all the time, and I couldn't really do anything about it except for Substack. But now I'm back on fucking Twitter, and now they can't shut me up. So what are they doing? They're wedging all the time. They're all fucking day long, and my threads and all over the place. Just listen to me. It's not about me. If somebody is convincing you, is trying to convince you that you shouldn't listen to somebody, you should question that. You should question, why is it that they don't want that? Why is it worth their time to go out of their way in their day to tell you something bad about this person? Why is that? Well, there's two possibilities. One, they have some fucking agenda, or it's true that, I don't know, I'm an anti-Semite and a fucking misogynist and a goddamn Nazi and a psyop.
No. Jim is unwell.
I'm unwell. So the point is, right, you can't evaluate these things on the fly. Who knows? Maybe this person is just your fairy godmother who comes down from fucking space and decides that they're gonna save you from this person. Maybe that's true. But more likely, there's a reason why they're doing it. And usually it's pretty easy to figure out why. Either a couple of questions or just go look at their profile or whatever. You can usually figure it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's wedging. Thank you for coming to my wedging TED Talk.
Wedging. So when anonymous counts slide into your DMs to try to say disparaging things about people who have been using their real name for many years to fight fascism, you might want to ask yourself, what would their agenda be? Because that's what it boils down to. If these accounts, and many of them blue checks and people think they're legit and whatever, if these people are going after Jim, are going after me, and not going after Putin or the people who are perpetrating these harms against humanity, then they might be an op.
Either that or they just all simultaneously get this same hobby.
Yeah.
You know, it's fascinating. Hundreds and hundreds of people have had the same hobby for fucking years now. Like
so anybody
for hundreds of thousands of tweets, hundreds of thousands
that they then wipe because they're always, you know, they are kind of wondering, is this,
that's okay. We back them up for them.
We got them all backed up.
It's okay. We have it backed up for them.
Yeah. So the very first awardee of the Brass Bullocks Award from RadPod is our friend Brent Allpress, who's a wonderful OSINT investigative, just a really great investigative. There's another word that I can't think of right now, researcher. He basically blew the lid on CNP and all the people involved in that. He's wonderful. But he did something called asymmetrical trolling. So we're just going to tell you guys just a little blip about it if you're just tuning into RadPod. When the harms against Jim had hit like peak insanity, Brent Allpress just ran around posting the tweet that nobody wanted anybody to see, that basically was the reason why everybody went after Jim. And that was because Jim had seen that Mike Flynn did a prayer that was a cultic prayer, and he did it in a Christian church, and it was quite frankly blasphemous and awful, and a lot of Christians turned their back on Flynn. And it really Jim putting this piece of the puzzle together, this I am cultic prayer from Elizabeth Clare Prophet that Mike Flynn did pretty much word for word, was the thing that the controlled opposition, pretending to be lefties but just, you know, tankies or whatever, or just ops. So Brent consistently and steadily continued to put, here's what they don't want you to see, here's why they're going after Jim. And it drew out all the same people to try to discredit Jim, but they basically had to leave because all Brent was doing was asymmetrical trolling, which was pushing the messaging that they were paid to try to discredit and try to bury. So thanks, Brent.
Well, that's the whole thing, and why you need to examine the people and the reasons why they're doing it, right? Like, I spend my time going after Mike fucking Flynn and a bunch of fucking fascists. That's what I do. That's how I spend my time. So what, like, please explain why your entire existence involves destroying me personally.
Yeah, going after you. Yeah.
Why would you, what's going on here, right? And the reason is because those people don't want people to know what the truth is about QAnon, about Mike Flynn, about psyops, about cults, about brainwashing, about all this actual shit that's happening in the real world. They want everybody to stay fucking ignorant. And that's why our goddamn president and our goddamn government needs to say something and say, listen, we understand what's happening out there. We know what the effect that propaganda has on people. And the reason why Aunt Betty is a fucking zombie is not because all of a sudden she decided to become a Trump fan after she was like knitting champion or whatever, right? She did that because of fucking Fox and propaganda and psyops that are affecting a third of the goddamn country.
Word. Yes, high five. You're bursting at the seams over there. You wanted to say something.
No, I was just bopping along to the TED Talk, man.
I felt him just rolling. He was just rolling with it, bro.
I thought he was putting the finger up for a minute there because, you know.
No, he will.
I was
Yeah.
having thoughts, but I wasn't like,
No, he'll be like, he'll you
Yeah.
know.
But I would like to say something. I would like to say something.
Itchy finger. Sorry.
Now that you mention it,
It's hi-fi time.
Now that you mention it, I do need to remind people that yes, I fucked with some people who were part of the QAnon team.
Yes,
I'll
you
admit
did.
that.
Yeah.
I fucked with some people who were literal trolls who were coming after me and Jim because of what we were saying. And
Yeah.
all I really care about, all I want to do is put some, billionaires in cages and make sure that everyone has.
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
I knew that was
all.
happening.
That's all.
I knew that was happening.
There was a punchline of some kind coming.
Yeah.
I knew it was.
I knew it was coming.
All that introduction, as heartfelt as it was just so Hi-Fi could do his dad
Here's
joke.
the thing.
He was like, everybody's doing dad jokes. My turn.
The reason why they are continually trying to discredit you and us is because they work for people like the people that you go after. So why would they want to go after their meal tickets?
Why would they want to stop me from going after a Russian gangster, a billionaire who's accused of like some nasty stuff, and a couple other billionaires that I think are laundering money, including one who happens to have bought Twitter? Why would they be mad at me for that? I wonder.
They're not. They're not mad.
Oh, they're not.
They're mad. They just think they know about all the people that you have in your basement that you've locked up and you're torturing with your long hungry knives.
Jim is unwell.
When you're trying to traumatize the opposition, you got to traumatize the opposition.
I know.
Yeah.
Chaos got chaos, man. What do you want?
But you know what? I mean, what you said earlier, Jim, is what this is really about. That this is war. This is war. It's a different type of war. This is a psychological war. And the beautiful thing about where we started in this conversation with Jen Senko's film, The Brainwashing of My Dad, and she also wrote a book where she did more work and was able to include a lot more of her findings. But why it's so important is that when we talk about the 30 million people who've been radicalized, part of this is Fox News. Part of this early on, a few decades ago was where Rush, she points out in her film, in 1993, Rush Limbaugh was brought onto military bases. And the one time Jen swore in our interview was when she's like, if we can't, if we're not going to turn off Fox, can we at least get them off the military bases? Can we at least fucking do that? She's like, can I say fuck on the show? I'm like, yes, you can. But it's like, what are we talking about? It's still on the military bases? Like, we know that they knew that Trump was lying and that they could have gone on camera and said, Trump, this big lie is bullshit. And then maybe that would have, helped de-escalate some of this insurrection coup stuff. And instead it's like, it's still on our military bases. So what is that?
We've allowed all these fucking ops to clear out all of the, regulations and sanity that, prevented actual foreign intelligence propaganda from, running rampant through our populations. There's a fine line between free speech and, allowing what's happening now, but we're nowhere near that fucking line. Like right now, it's just like you go to Twitter and it's amazing. You can see the war. You just like refresh the fucking,
It's crazy.
you know, the topics, and it's just like a bunch of Kremlin ops, and then a bunch of angry Democrats, and a bunch of Kremlin ops, and a bunch of angry Democrats, which is exactly what he was going for.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, you left out the tankies.
What's that?
You left out the tankies.
Well, that would be the Kremlin ops. Yeah, that would be the
Kremlin ops.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm not saying all the tankies are working for the Kremlin. It doesn't work that way. People like Jimmy Dore and asshats like that, like propagandize people into these little fucking cults, and then they become Kremlin propagandists, whether they, you know, ever intended to do that or not, right? They run around like, oh, you're blue and on, stupid, Russia. And then in the meantime, Jimmy's also putting a bunch of fucking anti-vax crap in your face now, right? Because he's Kremlin propagandist and he's breeding a bunch of new ones.
Yeah.
And if we don't, I mean, that shit multiplies. That doesn't stop.
Yes. I think that this would be a really good place to show a clip that I found today on Twitter, where it shows the lies that Hitler told, juxtaposed with the lies that Putin tells and just told 2 days ago. And I guess people can see with their own eyes that there is a playbook for this stuff, and that if we do not stop the killer in the Kremlin immediately, that we are looking at, when Hi-Fi mentions Moldova, we're looking at just the beginning of all this stuff. So I'd like you to play that clip, and maybe we'll have 1 minute to comment on it afterwards.
Wie immer habe ich auch hier versucht, auf dem Wege friedlicher Religion.
Мы настойчиво и терпеливо пытались договориться с ведущими сторонами НАТО.
Es ist eine Lüge, wenn in den anderen Welt behauptet wird, dass wir alle unsere Religionen nur versuchen, unter Druck durchzusetzen.
Мы никому и ничего не собираемся навязывать силой.
Alle diese Gebiete verdanken ihre kulturelle Erschließung ausschließlich dem deutschen Volk. Dazu wurde von uns gedrängt. Sie kennen die endlosen Versuche, die gemachte, zu einer friedlichen Klärung, zu einer Verständigung über das Problem Österreichs, später über das Problem Sudetenland, Böhmen und Mähren. Es war alles vergeblich.
Бесконечно долгих 8 лет мы делали все возможное, чтобы ситуация была разрешена мирными политическими средствами. Все напрасно.
Deutschland hat keine Interessen im Westen. Und der Westwall so bleibt für alle Zeiten die Grenze des Reiches nach dem Westen.
В наши планы не входит оккупация украинских территорий.
Den anderen deutschen Gebieten des Ostens, vor allem aber die dort lebenden deutschen Minderheiten und das Wahlvolk, die weise misshandelt.
Ее цель – защита людей, которые на протяжении 8 лет подвергаются издевательствам, геноциду со стороны киевского режима.
Danzig war und ist eine deutsche Stadt. Korridor war und ist deutsch.
Украина для нас – это не просто соседняя страна. Это неотъемлемая часть нашей собственной истории, культуры, духовного пространства.
Yep. I mean, he's genocidal dictator's got a genocidal dictator, right? It's the same fucking thing that he's doing. It's a messianic psychopath who has been in his own sort of bubble for so long that he believes his own legend, and you know, hopefully he will end up like Hitler, but hopefully before, you know, 20 million people die.
Yeah. So I think we've seen enough death. And if you don't know what side you're on, or you're working for that guy because people like Sean Hannity, you know, encourage you in that direction, then, you know, you're on the wrong side of history. That's all I got to say.
Yep. Hi-Fi, are you thinking? You feel like you're about to bust out with the last word?
Last word, Hi-Fi.
I'm going to bust out with the last word. We are in a war. It's a war for our souls, but not just our souls, souls of our states, our nation, our country, our world. You know, it's liberal democracy versus genocidal fascists. And there's a network of billionaire oligarchs. And I'm not just talking about the Russian ones, kids. They're all across Europe, UK, United States.
Running Twitter.
And they're fucking coming for us. So gear up, because it's on.